You're about to see the best club fitting experience I've ever had. We visited the Titleist Performance Institute in Oceanside, California for a full bag fitting, and we're taking you along for the ride. Titleist uses a unique approach that they call the 3Ds, and you'll see just how important that process is when it comes to getting the perfect clubs in your hands. This experience completely blew me away, and we can't wait to share it with you.
Okay, so I think what would be good is I'll start you with your 7-iron. We'll get a good grasp of what it does.
Yep.
And then from there, I'll probably still have you hit your 5 and 4-iron, maybe 1 or 2 shots with each,
Yep.
just to see where it falls. Is that a typical height window with a 7-iron?
I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
It's really good. It's about 110 feet, 112 average.
Yep. So we started with irons with Joey, who is the man, and the 3 key metrics that Titleist look for when fitting irons, they call the 3Ds. Distance, which is they're looking for 5-mile-an-hour ball speed gaps between each club. You've got dispersion, which is how accurate are you, left and right. And then you've got the final D, which is descent angle. So is your ball coming in down steep enough to stop on the green?
Here, let's go just to see how things progress as you go into, let's say, a 5-iron.
5-iron, yeah. Thank you.
That feel pretty good?
Yeah, I think so. That was good.
Okay, here, come on back. Distances are gapped really well. You got a 20 to 25 yard gap. Height, 111, very close to the peak height of your 7-iron.
Yep.
So that's good. And then we're roughly separated by 10 miles an hour of ball speed.
Okay, which is
Which
where you
good.
want to be.
Yeah, this is me kind of pointing out all the green flags.
Okay.
So let's start with something going into, I think what's going to be the most comparable model to what you're used to is that.
T100, yeah.
T100. And I think the game that we're going to play is we're going to figure out, do you stay in something like this for the entire set of clubs? Or at some point, where does something need to blend?
Yep.
If this in a 4-iron makes more sense because it feels easier to hit,
Yep.
I can always bend that weak
Okay.
to make sure it doesn't go too far.
Yep.
Same thing in this, right? It's just a product of testing it and making sure the gapping makes sense and you can maintain the height.
Okay.
That's it.
Sounds good. Is this the same length that I'm used to?
This is standard length. So it's a half inch under what you're used to. How'd contact feel on that one?
Yeah, really nice.
Really good?
Yeah.
Good.
Seemed a little hot, seemed quite high.
Yeah, it was a little higher.
Yeah.
You got to 119 on that one.
Okay. As soon as I see the high one,
Yeah.
I just think of anything into the breeze. It just feels floaty, that one just feels a little too high.
It spun more.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
your eye caught how much more spin that had.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why I think I've liked these ones, because I think these are a degree stronger. So I think for me, I've liked these because they've seemed to not just get that one that just climbs and drops.
Sure. Also pretty good on that one?
Yeah, very nice. Feels really solid, actually. My peak height with these irons was around 110 feet high. Now this is high, which is great, and Joey wants me to have this peak height with every iron in the bag, because this helps the 3D to help get that descent angle pretty steep so the ball can stop quickly when it hits the green, no matter what club I have.
What I want you to also be mindful of is, yes, that's going a little higher. It's going about 8 to 10 feet higher than your gamers.
Yeah.
But look at that spin
Spin's
rate.
low, isn't it? So she's good. That's, yeah.
I think if you're in this world where you gained a little bit of height, but you're not achieving it with an increase of too much spin, that's not a bad spot to be. You know, and again, this ties into, you don't have to hit it that high, but there's definitely a correlation on, especially the PGA Tour, the highest paid golfers are usually the ones that hit the highest.
Okay.
So there's definitely a trend in that direction. But if you all of a sudden were spinning at 700 or more, I don't know if I would want you there. Now we start talking about what could be a benefit by going into something like a blade or a CB, an MB or a CB.
Yeah.
If your technique and how thin the sole is, if it digs into the ground just so to get the strike higher on the club face, that could be a benefit to keep your spin lower.
Okay.
So that's where it very well could be an actual club that is a little bit more forgiving if you think of a higher spinning club is less forgiving.
Be interesting to see the difference in the feel compared to, because that T100 feels so solid. It'd be interesting to see.
Very rarely hit blades, have you, in your life, really?
I'm not sure if I've ever had blades.
No, you don't. I don't think you've ever played them. You very rarely hit them as well. Aaron's maybe a few times, mine maybe.
Yeah.
And if you do like the feel of this, it's not uncommon too to split your set in a different way.
Yeah.
We could go, 7-iron, kind of like I guess what you did, right? 7-iron down, 6-iron T100, 5-iron, so on and so forth.
And I'd definitely be open to that. I don't think I'd want to have a blade in a 6-iron. I just think
7 would be the
the
lowest loft.
I think so, yeah.
How's it look?
Yeah, it looks good. Is this standard lie?
It is. So 63. Good ball speed, almost 129.
I like that's nice.
Does it feel different than?
Feels good.
Yeah.
That last one, both those have felt really nice.
That was probably your best one with the MB.
Okay.
You're still right around the same carry distance. Your peak height is closer to the gamers that you play right now.
Yeah.
And that, again, it could be because of getting through the ground. That's not something that you can't achieve in the T100.
Yeah.
I think you would just need to be a little bit more cognizant of getting at that impact location more like this.
I like this. I think it's I could certainly play this in a 7.
There's also, it's not necessarily something that we would try, but you could say, hey, what if we stuck with a T100 7-iron, but we went 8-9 in pitch in the MB? Because they're higher lofted clubs already.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of the one to say I could probably sign off on either.
Yeah, yeah.
T100's really good.
Yeah.
I think to make your decision, I think you have to go with the one that you feel like you have the most control over, not only for dispersion, but from the window, the height window.
I think if I had to choose right now between where I would start it from, I think I would have T100 in 7 and then 8-9 in the 8-9 and maybe wedge in the in these.
In the MB?
In the MB. I think so.
I think that's not going to hurt you. I think especially in higher lofted clubs, you looking down at more loft, it already gives you the sensation of feeling like you can cover it more.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not a bad practice to go into the split at the 8.
For the last 20 years, I think I've played half an inch longer clubs. Joey's testing the consistency of my ball speed to see if I'm losing anything and if I'm more consistent with my strike with a standard length shaft.
Half inch over.
Okay.
KBS
120.
120. So now it's a little bit more of a true apples and apples shaft wise.
Yep.
So this is exactly the same as what he's got in his current.
Yes. That one feel pretty good?
Yeah, that was solid.
Yeah. Good ball speed on that one. 178 in the air.
Okay.
115 feet.
Yep.
That's not bad. That's pretty much right where you were.
Yeah. And I'm good with that.
Be honest with me. How does it feel? Obviously, it's more familiar.
I mean, that one was nice. The last two have been nice. That felt really good.
Here, I'll tell you what. Here, let me take the MB head off and put the T100.
Oh, that was the MB?
Yep.
Well, isn't that interesting? Because
I wasn't even thinking about the head.
there we go.
That last one felt like that. The last one I hit there, I'm like, that's the 7-iron I want to hit.
This is the half inch over, but in the T100
Okay.
head. So you see that launching higher already?
Yeah.
That's the tungsten in the center of gravity of that club head.
Yep. Is this half-inch longer?
It is,
Yeah.
That's the exact one you just hit. That's a good hit there.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah, that's nice.
How's it feel?
I think I prefer the head, certainly in this.
Here, let me show you what that last one did. You're saying you prefer the head T100?
I think so.
Okay. That is what the last shot just did. 6,600 spin, 181, land angle about 51, and then peak height. You're still right around that 110 to 115.
Yeah.
So it's still checking all the boxes in terms of performance. I think I'm with you because the MB 7 iron was almost justifiable too.
Yeah.
So I think if you were to make the split, 8, 9 pitch,
That feels good.
I think
that feels good to me.
It feels right.
Yeah. I like the idea of having an 8.
Okay.
Because the 8, for me, the 8 and the 9 and the wedge are just, again, they're just control, and I'd feel good with those. At this point, I'm thinking that I might be going with a blended set. So I'm thinking 8, 9 and wedge in the MB, and then 7, 6, 5 so far in the T100. Now, apparently 80% of tour players are having a blended set now, which means they have different models within their irons. This makes so much sense, especially when it comes to the longer clubs, which are generally harder to use. So the extra performance in the lower numbered clubs can really make a difference.
We did move forward with this. I'd probably say a half-inch over.
Okay.
If we decide later, hey, maybe we want to experiment again and go shorter, that's something that we can do after the fact.
Yeah, I think I'd feel comfortable with. I think I'd feel comfortable with a half-inch.
Okay.
Those last few shots felt
All right.
pretty good.
So from here, at your speed, I'm going to go grab a 4-iron. Let's see where we would start to make the split if you needed any help.
Yeah,
You know,
I think I'm going to be hitting it fairly high by the looks of things, but
Yeah.
let's see.
So 110 peak height is still our goal.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. So we want even. So we want the peak height the same throughout the bag. If I'm hitting it
if we can,
110 with 7, you
If
want it
there's a
110.
threshold, you know, it's like, well, where at what point is if it's not reaching it, do we make the switch?
Yeah.
I'd say 10 feet. So
Okay.
a 4-iron should at minimum reach 100 feet for you.
Okay.
And if it's not, that's where we need some help.
That's 5, yeah?
This is 4.
That's 4.
4, sorry.
I mean, I'm not going to hit any better than that.
Yeah, come take a look. Do you
Yes.
remember what we
Yeah.
talked about? The
145. All speed.
There you go. Right in there.
You quite literally checked all 3 boxes at the
Just
same
ask
time.
me what you need, and I'll just give it to you, Joey.
I should have started doing that from the start. So this, in a nutshell, this tells us that you don't necessarily need help from a bigger chassis size
Okay.
with more weight or stronger loft, because you got the speed we needed, you got the peak height we needed. That's easily 114 feet, and then
Right in between the yardage you wanted.
215 to 220 should have easily been carried with that. And to be fair, that looked like a normal stock swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you?
I think if you absolutely needed to, I think you could push this to 220, 225, especially if you set up for more of a draw.
Yeah.
But
That felt so.
You want,
Solid.
did you want to see that as well?
That was
I
great.
solid and you wanted
Like
to
soon
see
as
that,
I looked up at that, I'm like, I knew that was going to just be good on there.
Yeah.
So the 4-iron in the T100 only needed 1 hit. I absolutely ripped it. I love the flight, and it literally checked off all the 3Ds.
you just hit that higher than your current 5.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
We
That was as
we
good
can
as-
quite literally end it on that. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't have to show you anymore.
One shot.
One shot and you're done.
So here's where I'm up to with my set so far. 4 to 7 iron in the T100s, an 8 to pitching wedge in the MBs, all half an inch longer. Now what we're going to do is take a look at the driver and work our way backwards to the irons and fill in the top end of the bag. Okay.
Let's go to driver.
Yeah, that's fine.
we got ahead of ourselves.
We go straight to a tour, but no, that's fine. I'm happy with that.
Can I see what your gamer driver does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just see what that looks like. Now, when it comes to my driving, I've probably driven it the best ever last season, and my current gamer has been great. It's been a little lower spin, and the flight has been strong, but I've really enjoyed hitting it. I'm excited to see what the GT driver feels like and how it performs.
Let's It's right at where we're aimed. Here you go.
And that's that shot there is how I've been hitting this club, really.
Okay. It's not exactly at, like that height wasn't exactly where your 7-iron or even the 4-iron are at.
No, no.
If I'm being picky, it's not outrageously low.
Yeah.
It's 94 feet, so even if you stayed there, you're not going to get in too much trouble. The only thing that starts to maybe futuristically concern me is how low the spin is. That can start to introduce the left.
So my current gamer is a little too low spin. It was great if the shot was good, but if I missed it, the spin was a little too low and the ball would dive out of the air. Joey wants me to find something where the spin window between the good and the bad is a little higher, so ultimately my missed shots are a little more consistent.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah, definitely a better launch on that one.
Yep.
Just felt like I got a little bit more behind it.
I think 2,500 spin.
Okay.
I mean, relative to the strike location, that makes sense to me.
Was that my strike location on that, yeah?
Yeah, it's showing just a little low. I think the only number that needs to change to get that closer to the rest of your bag
Yeah.
is
Launch
just
angle.
the launch. And I think that has a lot to do with strike location.
Yes.
I think if we get that a little higher on the face, that gets taken care of. All right, so this is kind of our first dive into GT. How's it look?
Looks nice, yeah? I like how it sits. I prefer it if it sits more open, which this feels like it does, but yeah, it feels good. Feels more lofted.
I wanted to start here because it's the most comparable to what you're playing,
Yeah.
and then we can start to make changes as we see fit.
Is this 3?
See that ball kind of starting to dive?
Yeah.
It's just starting to do that.
Yeah.
This is me searching for the proper loft
Yeah.
for you. You see how your launch went down?
Oh, yeah.
Spin is still low, which we saw that coming. You're just on the low spin side of things. So now let's go GT2 instead of the 3.
Okay. That's nice.
Pretty solid there.
Yeah, yeah.
And it very well may be something that you'll feel where in the other model, maybe that one felt like it should have been a little farther left.
I hit that,
Uh-huh.
and I felt like it was going to go left. And then I looked up, and I'm like, oh no, it's holding its line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Keep going.
Kind of like that.
That's a very different window than before.
Yeah, you can see there's more spin on that. It feels really nice,
To go higher, you
but
mean?
it's certainly not on the,
Yeah,
which just makes me think about just tee height as well. Just
for sure.
like
Messing
if I,
around with-
yeah.
that's where essentially where you've been living. That was one of the fastest ball speeds out of you though so far, and you didn't necessarily pull it to get that
No.
increase in speed. That was pretty just dead straight
Yeah,
ball.
that was nice.
Yeah, I saw you tee that one up a little higher. Let's give that one go just to see what happens to the strike.
I'm going to change the tee. I'm going to get this one.
There you go. Big red.
It's a
I
great
know
wi-
that one went left, but that's like that's
Great window.
2.5, almost 3 miles an hour faster.
Okay.
Ball speed.
Yeah.
That's a really nice, that height there that I've just hit that feels really nice. Because it still feels strong, it still feels forward.
That's good.
I was
Strike
a little
higher
more,
on that one.
little more focused on strike on that
Yep.
one. I think I need to, there's no point in me having, like I've got to get it pegged up.
Yep.
Because I'm
doubt.
consistent off the bottom, I just
No
need to
doubt.
have it pegged up another ½ inch.
Yeah.
The great thing about a fitting is that you can discover small wins. My strike location on the face was a little too low, which launches it low and increases the spin and potentially loses a little bit of ball speed. A simple adjustment in the tee height can really change the flight of the golf ball, especially when it comes to distance. So if I can hit the same sort of strike location there,
It should equate to getting you back down to 23, 2400 spin.
is that where you'd like me to be,
I
Joey?
think
Yeah.
that's been the most ideal looking ball flight.
Okay. That feels high as well.
That means you did it right.
Yeah, that's exactly. If it feels high, I'm good.
If it feels high and weird, you
Yeah.
did it right.
I'm just going to get it A little uncomfortably high.
Yes.
Get into Pierce territory now.
Come on.
This is like half the size of your tee.
It's really close. Here, bring that back.
It's a good miss again.
Yeah, it's spinning, but it's because of this.
Yes.
That's where I know what the cause is of that, and I'm not necessarily looking at it as a bad thing, because I know what's causing it. So let me see what this does.
That's pretty close.
Let me show you where that one hit.
That's better.
And then you can visually see that ball had
Yeah.
little to no spin.
Yeah.
So take a look at that last. So that's the forehead,
Yeah.
right, which is the lower spinning model. It is flipped. It's in the flipped position to have the heavier weight in the back.
Okay.
So it's playing closer to how a GT2 plays. It's like a GT 2.5
Yep.
relative to where the weight is.
Okay.
This was a 9-degree turned up on D3 hosel. So it's actually, this was me almost fighting or searching for something to help you turn it over.
Yeah.
With you trying to get after it.
Okay.
Looks great, isn't it, to be fair?
Do you know what? As nice as it looks, I think I prefer the bigger head.
Oh, really, yeah?
I do.
Yep, we're gonna go
The
back.
two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I prefer it.
Interesting.
The one I hit where I heeled it, I'm like, it didn't
Yeah.
nowhere near as good as the.
You
Okay.
kind of turned around with just pure disgust.
Yeah. What was that? I think you said that was
It
right.
didn't feel quite right.
I saw the look in your eyes, and that's why you only hit it twice. We're done.
Yeah, give it back.
I get it.
That was interesting.
That was a high heel strike, but
Yeah.
I'd take that.
Yeah. I think that's a great shot.
Just that feeling off that high.
That's one of the highest on the faces.
Yeah,
that
it
I've seen
felt
you
high,
hit.
that did. Yeah, I mean, launch angle up to 12 there. Shows just the strike, how important that strike location. What was the spin?
Absolutely. I think it doubled the spin.
Okay,
double the
yeah,
spin,
you
yeah.
were quite right. Because that was low. High heel again.
What do you, when you see that height and that flight, do you like that?
I like it as long as the spin's low.
2,500. So that's pretty much matched to what your gamer does on
Yeah.
a fade type of a shot.
Yeah.
What
This head though feels way better than the GT4.
What you haven't tried yet
Yeah.
is the higher tee height going back to the GT3.
Okay.
So that'll be good for us to just put the stamp on this one
Yep.
or reintroduce. Now the 3 is the one that does have a little bit more of that deflection
Yeah.
that we were talking about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a great flight.
It's good, isn't it?
It's a real good flight, that is.
I agree. Good spin. That at least solidifies. I think we're in a good amount of loft.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go to an 11.
And this is 10, yeah?
10 at 10.
Okay.
Is yours
Go
go?
back to the 2.
Yeah.
This shaft is very comparable to the stiffness of this, but this
Yeah.
one actually does have a mid-size grip.
Okay, oh,
So
perfect.
I want you to just feel maybe a little bit more at home,
Yep.
but in the 2 head,
There.
just to revisit that.
Back.
Good strike, but that one's a little spinny.
Yeah, that one's
Kind of an extra.
32.
32,
Yeah,
yeah.
because of the strike though. Here, now go back to this guy. And this is back to the 3 in the Ventus shaft.
Yeah.
This is a good back and forth comparison.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to see that?
That's nice.
That's good, isn't it? Do you like that though? You like?
I mean,
You know what driver you're going to play tomorrow in our match? That one.
this one.
Yep.
Yeah, that was nice. I mean, that
Because it gets you to that same visual 2200 spin, which is exactly where you were coming from. It gives you the same curvature.
yeah. If I was going out tomorrow with
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
I could definitely play that.
Cool. Okay. So as we transition into what a 3-wood is
Yeah.
supposed to do for you, what's the objective of a 3-wood for you?
I think just seeing something that's really low lofted, I think. I
You've
like
said
to
that-
see.
You've said that before.
Yeah, I just like to see loft because I just feel then I haven't got to try and help it up. I can just
Okay.
hit it
Something that feels easier to go
like
up.
yeah. I
got
think
you.
that's the key thing for me with the 3-wood.
Okay.
Which 16 and a half, which I've currently got, feels it's easily playable.
Hit 2 of yours for me.
My current 3-wood has been really, really good. And it's important that I get a 3-wood that gives me as much confidence that I have with the driver so I can use it in more situations.
That's the height you've been seeing?
Yeah, pretty similar. Hasn't been fading that much, but I feel like maybe slightly tighter lie will just influence that a little bit.
It looks like you're just shy of a 260 carry.
Okay.
Does that sound close
I'd
to
say so,
how you've
yeah.
been
I'd
playing
say
it?
so.
That feel pretty good?
Yeah, that was good. Probably more of the shape that it has been.
Okay, I'll stop you on that one. 263, 275 total. I imagine you probably don't want more than that.
Definitely not, no. Definitely not.
You're actually hitting this even higher than everything else.
Yeah.
How does that look when you look down at that?
Yeah, feels good.
Let's start here. Let's give that a go.
That's
How'd that
really,
feel?
really good.
I mean that's,
but is that?
it looks
What
like
is
a
that
rocket.
number?
It looks so good, that
Come on,
does,
Ben.
but it looks like it's gone a long way.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like it was.
So take a look at this. So there's 15.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You can see the spin is dropped.
Yeah.
Appropriately so, because we gave you less loft.
Yeah.
It's at least nice to solidify should you be playing a higher lofted. Not
Okay.
for height reasons, for distance reasons.
Yeah. So that confirms that 15 is too low, really.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe it's not creating enough spin, and it's just...
Yeah, and that for me just feels... Yeah, I don't feel like I've got the control that I really want from this club.
Nope. And I'm gonna hammer it home with what you just said earlier. Control before...
Yes.
Even slightly pulled, it does that high.
Exactly.
Yep. That's 266 carry, 280 total on the pole.
Yeah. And the spin rate was nice and high there. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that felt good.
So it's the 3 model. The first one you hit was the 2 model.
Yep.
Which is already designed to launch it a little higher.
Okay.
I think it's best for us to mitigate not having this thing spin too much.
Yep.
But give you more loft just to get the launch to go up.
I like
to
it.
Get the heat,
I like it.
that height up. Okay, now if we're looking at the club below this, paying attention to how far this goes,
Yeah.
right? We're talking about that 2-iron world. Hit me with an objective.
I think it's got to hit the 235, 240 mark that
Yeah.
you said,
You
really.
can stick one club in there.
But I
can't
would
you?
still like that number to be able to hit that number into a...
Let's go for a stock 235 number.
Yeah.
Let's comfortably get there.
Yeah.
Let's see the versatility on you being able to hit a 225 number and a 240 number.
Okay.
With that same club.
Yeah.
That's what he needs if he's going to fill that gap with
Yep.
one club.
Yep.
For me.
Let's see how we can get there, and then let's look for versatility in terms of high and low. Okay.
Yep, that sounds good.
Right now, that's the 2-iron, right?
Yes.
Do you want to show me what that does off the ground?
Yep. So that was as good as that's my sort of standard 2-iron, what I would do there.
So 80 feet. That was off the ground.
Yep.
This is, we're going to jump into the utility irons. I want you to just, don't look at what the number is on this one. I want you to just look at the loft that it has.
Okay.
Let's go off the ground, and let me see you take a couple of strikes with that. Nope. Okay, here, bring this back. At this distance, so this was a 3-iron.
Okay.
A little bit more loft than what you're used to. On the one that you hit high and
Yeah.
it had a good height to it.
Yeah.
That only carried 227, so it's a little
Okay.
away from our number. This is now a 2-iron, but in
Yes.
a bigger size.
I'm so
Is that
excited.
the one you wanted, Joey?
Why am I so excited about this club? When I saw Pierce hit this, I was like,
You just wanted.
I just want it. I don't care what it actually performs like. I was so excited to hit the U505. I just knew I was going to love this club.
These feel incredible. When you
The first shot I hit with it was just like, wow.
it
what
just
is that?
it takes off. It's obviously a lot more forgiving too.
Look at that. I mean, that's
Quite
just
the club twirl.
that's the shot. Like,
Yeah, it's fast.
I mean,
It's almost too fast. I mean, you really connected. That's the 2-iron. So this actually becomes pretty simple.
okay.
3-iron.
3-iron,
is
yeah.
probably the loft that you would need. There's the height.
Yeah.
You see how different that is from the 2-iron. So it's loft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mostly.
It's good. That was a good hit as well.
Carry 244. Can you try that same thing for me, just with this? This
Yeah.
is the same head, but in a steel shaft.
Okay.
So this will just take a bit of speed out potentially.
I think this is potentially something that'll make this club actually play more like an iron.
Okay, yeah. Great height. I think that's
Yep.
that's gonna be a little.
Feels nice.
That's 235.
How does the steel feel versus the graphite hybrid shaft?
I think my intention changed as soon as the steel was in my hand.
Yep.
I think I was just,
And we would match that to your irons.
yeah.
That's not the exact shaft, but
I think I'd feel pretty comfortable with that. Because I think for me, just having that control.
yep. I really like this, Andy.
It's good.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, great height.
I think you got what
Great,
you asked
isn't it?
for.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
And I think it's the right call to go into the steel shaft.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think if it's matching my set,
Yes.
it feels good.
So as it stands, we got you into new driver,
Yeah.
10 degree GT3, right? We don't have to go to an 11 degree. We'll keep you in the same shaft.
That's like GT3 didn't it?
Yeah, GT3. Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
ended up with.
Yeah.
Just because of the spin number and the height
Yeah.
that we achieved. We certainly don't want to go to a 15 degree 3-wood because it just goes too far.
Yeah.
So 16 and a half in the same GT3 model. Going into U505 3-iron. 2-iron went too far,
Yep.
which is, not a bad problem to have, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
can be problematic.
As soon as I hit that 2-iron, first of all, I was like, this is, and then
Yeah.
it was a rocket launch.
4-iron, one and done.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
that was like the most perfect 4-iron you could have ever hit. Down through, let's assume pitching wedge for now, but
Yep.
we'll find out. That's more of a. It's honestly something that's more conversational though as well. Like when you're, because what is a pitching wedge fly for you? 140,
135, 140, somewhere between
somewhere
those
in
two,
there?
yeah.
Now, when you're at that yardage, we'll say a full pitching wedge yardage. Do you like the idea of feeling like you have another iron in your hands, or would you rather have another wedge in your hands? Right, thinking about the perspective on how you think about that.
I think I'd rather have wedge in the hand personally. Yeah.
Do you take yardage off pitching
Yeah.
wedge from time to time, like to hit it?
125.
Maybe it's a back pin, back to front slope green. You don't want it to spin it too much.
Yeah, I'll hit that shot a lot.
That's the player that is going to play Vokey pitching wedge as opposed to the set pitching wedge.
Okay.
Last but certainly not least was the blind Vokey wedge fitting. Now, we've all heard that the bounce of the club is important, but I'm not sure that golfers understand how important it is to actually get the right grind for you. You could have the wrong grind and it could be killing your short game. The right grind makes a huge difference. Now, my focus around the green, I'm always thinking about the interaction with the ground and how the club interacts with the turf. Now, if you're scared of the ground, you may have some technical issues, but you may also have the wrong grind.
So here's what we're going to
There's a
do.
couple.
I'm going to hand this to you upside down. Don't look at the bounce of the grind.
Okay.
I will tell you it's a 58.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be honest with you there. So let me see, given the scenario, let's say you had to hit your 58, let me see what you would do and try to be picky with me on how this club feels getting through the ground and contact, things like that.
Okay.
More or less, that sounds like
I feel like that's what I'm going
You-
to do with this club.
you weren't sure, it's unpredictable like you said.
Yes.
That has more potential to happen.
Yeah.
That's why you saw the bump.
Yes.
I understand.
For some time now, my wedge makeup has been 52 and 58. That's the only two wedges I've used.
I want to move towards a 50, a 54 and 58. This will give me more options in my wedge game, especially around the 120 yard mark. I would typically have to take a lot off a wedge to hit that distance, so the 50 degree will make this way easier.
So certainly more spin.
Yeah.
Now, if that were more predictable, like if you had more trust on knowing that it was going to check up like that, would you be able to do it more, I guess, with more confidence?
Yes, definitely.
Let's go one more. Now try that. We're going to call this one wedge number 2.
Okay. Same shot?
Same shot.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, number 3. How did number 2?
2 felt better than 1.
2 felt better than 1.
Yeah.
You answered that pretty strongly.
Yes.
So I'm gonna.
He didn't mess around, did he?
No.
What's the thing is, as soon as I put number...
That was finite.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I put number 1 down, I'm like,
This ain't it.
not a fan, no.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it? Your instinct telling you?
Leading edge, I'm like, this is a digger. Yeah.
Try to overforce how much ground you can hit
Okay.
with that trail. I want you to really feel the back edge of that. Like that. Something a little crispier, right?
Yeah. Just to focus there on the ground.
And that's how I think it would be a good way to make our decision is which bounce and grind allows you to trust that ground.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's pretty good. Now let's
Winner
go.
so far, that one.
Winner so far. Okay.
Yeah.
This is number 4.
Wow, spun a lot.
It did spin a lot. I kind of want to see it maybe one more time because of that.
I think those 2.
That, even though that shot wasn't amazing, the spin is enough for you to go, I want to see another
I
one.
want to see another one. Yeah. Because of where he hit it on the face, and it didn't sound bad either.
No, exactly.
Okay, so I'll begin to tell you I don't necessarily like the inconsistency from this one.
Yeah.
And it does sound like it's getting a little clunkier through impact.
That one definitely was a...
Right? It's not as crisp even
Yeah.
on a bad hit.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to the winner.
Okay.
The one that you said was kind of that leader in the clubhouse.
Yep.
Just like that.
Nice. Oh, missed.
Beautiful.
Because I think if you can go into this shot trusting that you know how to execute that,
Yeah.
that to me is way more predictable than you running something up this contour hill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't have struck that one any better.
That was money, wasn't
And
it?
this is, this feels like I've got the comfort and confidence to actually do that with this club.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Same thing, Andy.
Same again.
Because that type of check spin,
Yeah.
that's intentional.
Yeah.
That's you dictating. You knew that ball was going to do that relative to how you set up to hit it.
Yeah.
So I think if you can approach this shot with that, now you're in the right tool to let you do it. It gets rid of the bump shot.
Yeah.
Let's confirm this is still the leader.
Okay.
So this is back to number 2 that you also liked.
Okay. Yeah.
This is just a different shot that you haven't hit with it yet.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely notice the difference when I drop it down there.
So be honest with me, how does you even setting up to this shot, have things changed?
A little, because I feel like this is less bounce.
Okay, let's go back to the leader. See, even on a slight miss,
Yeah, and that was just. I mean,
I think
I'd be
you would
over
agree.
the moon with that.
You didn't clip that one
No,
the
no,
way
it
you
was a
did the
little-
first 2, and you got away with it.
Yeah, and that's what I think with this one.
It
It just gives me that confidence. Even my practice swing, I'm like, yes. The first,
It
I
feels-
had the practice swing, I'm like, yes, straight away.
I really like this one. All right, go ahead and take a peek.
Okay.
10S, yeah.
So mid to low, 10
Yeah.
degrees of bounce. It's the S grind, which is more of a square, neutral shape to the bottom, but it's pretty narrow.
Yeah.
It's narrow, but it has more bounce than the two that you didn't necessarily feel as confident with.
Was this the first one you gave
That
me?
was the first one
Yeah,
that I
I'm
gave
like
you.
this. I'm like this. This is. I'm like this
You
is
can,
good.
you can tell on his face he was going,
I
this
put
is
it
not
down.
gonna
I'm
be
like,
good.
holy crap! Is there any bounce on there at all?
It's a little daunting.
Yeah, it is.
I will agree.
This
but,
just feels.
But the
just
S grind
feels
is
great.
very, very square, and honestly, I feel like it suits your style of
Yeah.
delivery. It's very, I mean, it's quite literally why that S grind stands for Steve Stricker.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a shape that suits a player like him who's
Yeah.
very straight back, very straightforward.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how much this wedge was spinning. This was all due to the grind allowing me to create the right strike between groove 2 and groove 5, crucial for spin.
Okay, now here,
Maybe a
I'm going to
little
give you
high in
this
the
club.
face.
This is the 54.
Okay.
We'll call this one number 1. Now I want you to maybe position yourself a little bit left of target
Yeah.
and really open the 54 up and turn it into a 56
Yeah.
to hit it. Use it the same way as the lob wedge,
Okay.
basically. It's a good miss. See, it kind of bounced into that one a little bit more.
Just a little. I mean, that was a good interaction. Obviously, plenty of spin on that one.
I think you can probably open this club up a little bit more too,
Yeah.
if you wanted to. I know that's a very different approach to this type of a club.
Yeah.
That's better.
Nearly the one hop and stop. One hopping in like yours,
One
Piss.
hopping in.
Try that with 54 degree number 2. Go one ball further back. Right there.
Drive this forward a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. So then last but not least, I just want you to feel the difference in that again. Same pin. Sorry, go to the red one right here.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually was trying to go the red one, that one.
Play this
Nice.
off the back foot,
Yeah.
like well off your right foot. Yep. And then
Probably
maybe
just
grip,
less of a
grip,
flop,
grip
really,
down
isn't
just a little bit. There you go.
Good luck with that. Joe, he hasn't gripped down on a golf club for around 25 years. He's played 24.
I know, you saw I snuck that one in there, and we're at the tail end.
You moved about a millimetre.
Felt like a foot.
But you see how much more spin that had?
Yeah, that's definitely.
And it obviously came out of that lower window.
Just snagged in the rough a little bit, but still got
Yeah,
some
but
spin.
it grabs
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit more.
I actually quite like that flight.
That was the main thing that I wanted you to see. Okay, so here's the 50 degree. It's only the F grind that
Okay.
you have to choose from. So 58, 54. Those are the new bounce and grind options.
These are my new wedges, 54. And so 58, 10 S grind, and 54, 14 F grind.
Yep. So both of which are two very rounded soles. There's not a lot of flat finishes like the D grind or even the T grind that you
Yeah.
were playing. It's got a very flat finish on the sole.
Yeah.
Not as much of a pronounced knuckle on
Okay.
the back edge. These ones are just a lot more rounded.
The difference, Joe, is incredible.
Differences between
I think just the differences between when I look at it and then when I have the practice swing and then I have the confidence to trust the wedge is it's huge, it's massive. And I think like for anyone watching this, if you can't get access to a blind fit like we've just been through, they can do it through the Vokey fitting app. We'll put any links down in the description. But if you're not having a fitting for the wedges, then you're missing out. That was incredible. Thank you.
You're very welcome.